Welcome, everybody, to one of the last episodes of Footy Rivals we're going to be doing this year, actually.
Business end of the season done and
It
dusted.
is. Home and away-
Regular season
yeah.
done and dusted.
Home and
We're
away
into the
season
business
is
end.
done now. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. It's a bye week. It's the most boring week in footy.
It is. It's a terrible week.
It is, yeah. There's not a lot. A lot's happened, but at the same time, not a lot has happened.
Yeah, I feel like a lot's happened in terms of news stories get pumped up and they gain more ground this week than they ever would have.
Yeah.
Calamar cheese trade request gained more ground than it really should have.
Yeah.
It would never get this much if there were games on this weekend. So
No. Hello,
G'day, Riley.
Hello,
Hi,
everybody.
X. Bomber. Thanks for joining us, guys. Yeah. What do you make of the bye week? You don't like it, obviously. What are your thoughts?
I'm mixed. I don't like it because there's nothing going on and it's boring. But at the same time, you want the best players playing finals.
Yeah.
And you don't want the best players playing finals to jeopardize the last round of the year as well, like it was with your mob and North Melbourne famously doing before they introduced it. So thanks for you wrecked the end of the year for us.
If we were going down to the bottom of the ladder, we're just going to ruin football for everyone then, not just for us. So I'm happy with that. It's a weird one. The finals since they introduced it have been pretty good final series.
No,
I guess. Maybe 2016 was good. Maybe
the only good one was 16.
Maybe instead of good final series, I should say winners that we probably haven't expected.
Because the only good, so in 2017, they were
all drubbings, weren't they?
Yeah, the only good final we had was
right.
West Coast versus Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
Last year's
Mixed bag, was it?
Yeah,
I feel like there weren't that many good finals last year.
Probably mixed.
The Melbourne West Coast one was terrible. I think Sydney got flogged in the first week from memory. So, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's going to be confusing. Nate Dogg is banana. All right. Yep.
That actually explains, because today I went back and watched one of our old episodes, just trying to get some, flashback going on. And I kept seeing Nate Dogg's comments pop up, and I was referring to them as Banana Nate in the video. So this makes much more sense.
Yeah.
I wasn't misreading things. Thank you, Nate Dogg. All right. Now, should we get into our questions for one another?
Yeah, we'll do that.
As we do every week.
Yeah.
There you go.
I feel like this is such a stupid system we have.
It's so,
I just feel like I'm passing notes behind the class.
I know, right? Okay, did you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll read mine first. All right. Out of Gaff, Shuey, Zorko, Trelaw, and Martin, it was Martin who was the biggest snub for the All Australian team. Argue why.
Dusty Martin should have been in the All Aus team. You have to argue why he should have been.
Yeah, personally, my personal opinion is it's between him and Zorko, but otherwise, I probably agree with that. Actually.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't agree with it, so we both get what we want.
Really?
Yeah. No, I don't think he should have been. I mean, he definitely had a calling. We'll get into this further in the episode, but no, my personal opinion shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Besides the Gold Coast and Melbourne, who is the biggest disappointment for 2019? Okay. All right. That's going to take some thinking, because those two are obviously the standouts. Melbourne particularly.
They're obvious. They're the obvious two standouts, which is why I didn't want you to... I wanted you to actually think about who else would be the biggest disappointment in 2019. I've got one in my head, and I think most others, after a bit of thinking, would probably draw to this conclusion as well.
There's a few that are probably more around... The teams that just miss finals seem to be probably more disappointing than the ones next to the Gold Coast and Melbourne on the ladder.
Maybe.
So that will be interesting.
Maybe.
That will be very interesting. Nate Dogg says Melbourne. Well, I can't pick Melbourne, Nate Dogg, but
the most disappointing team is obviously Melbourne. So we want to talk
without doubt,
not the obvious choice here. So.
Which, if you want to go back and watch my season review on Melbourne, you will hear the word disappointing mentioned quite a bit. Because that's literally all. I was trying to think of different adjectives. That was their season.
No, it was. Don't forget that we do actually have our first three videos for the end of season reviews. We've done Gold Coast, Melbourne, and Carlton.
Yeah.
Next week is the Saints.
Yeah.
Sydney.
Someone's in between. Sydney's in between them, and then after that is
my one, which
Fremantle?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Fremantle.
I think it might be. So we've got those coming out at the start of next week.
Yeah.
And then on Thursday, because it's a Thursday night game, we'll be doing a watch party, West Coast versus Essendon, first Elim final. And that'll be the last watch party that we do until the grand final as well. So,
just in the chat there, we've got the guys talking about the Tipper with potential move from Essendon.
I don't think it'll happen.
Neither do I.
No, I think he'll stay.
Yeah, I don't really see him in another jersey. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, it's possible,
16?
clearly. Yeah, 2016 was the top-up year, wasn't it? Yeah, and he was one of the gems that they unearthed. So with that, I suppose should we segue into our news for the week?
Let's talk about some news before we get into the All Australian stuff.
Yeah,
which
All
is
Australian
take up the bulk of this.
Is going to replace the games this week, I guess, since we don't have any games to go through because of that stupid bye week. So, anyways,
thank you, Fremantle.
Yeah.
And the first piece of news that we've got off the ranks, Brendan Bolton, who was recently sacked by the Blues. 2-3 months ago.
Yeah.
Returns to Hawthorn as the director of coaching. So he takes up Chris Fagan's old position.
Yeah.
So no one at the Hawks has actually taken up that position since Chris Fagan left.
Which is nice of the Hawks because clearly it's not something that they really need if they haven't had it for that long, I don't think.
No.
But they're just, respecting an old clubman who did a great service to Hawthorn during his time.
Well, yeah.
So, I like it. I like the appointment. I think Brendan Bolton still has something to offer a footy club in some capacity. So, maybe in familiar territory is a good thing. He's going to be comfortable there, hopefully. So, I like that.
It's an interesting thing for me, Bolton. I think Bolton, maybe in a few years' time, might be able to go around again.
Yeah.
Because he's been a senior coach in the VFL. He took Box Hill to a flag.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. So he can be a senior coach. Now, clearly for maybe obvious reasons to you, if you don't know, go watch the review. I go into a bit of depth as to why Bolton kind of failed as coach.
Yeah.
I think he can learn from that.
Yeah,
and it doesn't help that he didn't exactly have a great deal of sort of senior coaching support around him either.
Think the marriage of him, the coaching support at Carlton, and the board and the higher-ups at Carlton was just a terrible, terrible mix.
Yeah.
I just don't think it worked. And that might not have any fault of... there's some fault of Bolton. You're the coach and you were losing games. There's some fault. But I like the fact that he's back at the Hawks.
You got to remember, for you Hawks fans, Hi X, Nate Dogg, you guys haven't won a premiership since he left the club.
Yeah, maybe Bolton's the factor.
So, you can't hate on him too much because,
You also can't just win every single premiership ever, but...
No, but the Hawks have kind of fallen off a cliff since he left.
I think so.
Is it the aging players or was it the loss of Brendan Bolton? I suppose next year we'll see what kind of impact he has, because if the Hawks become a much more structured team again...
I'm keen to see the Hawks next year because they get Mitchell back and they were playing good footy towards the end of this year. Obviously,
they get
beat your mob very inconveniently.
Yeah.
Just to slot that one
in
there.
Yeah, thank you.
But no, they were playing good footy. They get Mitchell back, who's a Brownlow medalist, and I don't know. They need to add someone else still. I think when I was thinking that they were going to have Mitchell and Canelio, who obviously we'll talk about re-signing with GWS this week. When I thought they would have them two added to this team, I thought that's serious. Like, that's going to be a top 8 team. Now I'm sort of on the cusp. They need to pick someone else up.
No, I don't think they need anyone else.
Yeah, you think so?
They'll have Mitchell, Warple, O'Meara.
Actually, Warple's development.
Shields is going to be going through there. The midfielder's fine.
If Warple takes another step forward, that's a big bonus too. Yeah. But no, nonetheless, good to see Brendan Bolton back there. Which I guess moves us on to topic 2.
Yes.
Canelio signs a...
Probably the big news for the week.
Yeah, I think it's the big news. Did you hear about how it was broken to the GWS playing group?
Yeah, Reece Shaw, was it?
Not
Reece Shaw. Heath Shaw.
Yeah.
It stood up as though he was going to do a retirement speech.
At a pre-finals dinner and say, hey, this is my last rolled round. And I guess he just faked him out and announced that Canelio was signing a 7-year deal.
You wouldn't expect anything less from him, though,
Not at all. That is class. I love that. But yeah, amazing for the Giants. Who I said on this show a few weeks ago that I thought he would stay. I based that on absolutely nothing, and to be honest, it was a stab in the dark. I'm happy he did.
You could, I suppose, it was much like Gaff last year. You could genuinely see that he was conflicted as to what he should do.
Yeah,
he wanted to stay, but at the same time, he kind of wanted to go. Big money on offer. It's a very big thing to think about.
Yeah, and I think
so. Obviously, his heart's chosen over the brain.
Yeah. And it's a big thing. Like, he's the heart and soul of that team, really. I mean, he's a huge leader for them. So I'm happy he stayed because I don't like seeing shames in football.
That's a good question.
I don't like seeing things that are a shame, and it would have been a shame if all of this talent at GWS just sort of wandered off and amounted to nothing.
And it is kind of.
I really actually want to see them do quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, what was that in the chat? That's
okay, boys. I have a question for you both. Do you think that Paddy Ryder and Jake Carlisle will come back to the Dons? I think Ryder will.
Ryder, yeah.
Carlisle, any club that picks up Carlisle will be a mistake.
This came up in the Discord server during the week, and you mentioned that he had been a headache and wasn't worth to pick up. And that was my immediate thought too.
He was a known headache at the Bombers before he was traded.
Yeah, and then he was a major headache.
Which came clear. From all reports and everything that have come out with regards to Carlisle, he's just a bit of a... something off the field.
Just not...
I don't want to just like blast players and everything, especially when I don't have first-hand confirmation and everything with regards to this stuff. But... for all intents and purposes, everything that's rolling around that people say of just people speak of him on social media and everything, it's just a bit of an idiot.
And to be honest, he's never really like stood up on the field and made me think he's actually that great.
No, he was a great defender at the Bombers. And he was a great swingman as well, but he's not been he's barely been on the park at the Saints. So
and look, Ryder is a possibility. Certainly, like it looks more likely than not.
Probably, yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. It's a nice little homecoming, I guess.
Not sure.
Paddy Ryder played a lot of years at Essendon.
I wouldn't be happy with that if I was Bombers.
I mean, I don't really know much about it, but when he left, did the Bombers have a bit of a fractured relationship for that? Like a bit of hostility towards Ryder?
The circumstances of which he left was because of the way that the club had handled the whole drugs.
Right, of course.
And stuff. Yeah. That's the reason why he left and everything, which I've got no problem with. But from memory, he also kind of burned the club in the media, which
he did too.
Yeah, so it'd be an interesting welcome back for Paddy Ryder.
For sure. And I don't really know why Essendon would go ahead and do it. You've got... I mean, he's an upgrade on Zach Clark, but who isn't? You could give me one of those totem tennis pole things, and they'd probably be an upgrade on Zach Clark.
Well, you're not wrong, but Paddy Ryder cannot play in the ruck full time anymore.
Yeah,
his Achilles in particular cannot handle the load of jumping.
Is he just going to be a forward option because Stringer's obviously playing more midfield time than they envisioned when they got him? Then
he's not even a good forward.
I don't think he's good at it. But if he's going to go there, he's going to have to play somewhere. When he comes up from the VFL, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do with Paddy Ryder.
Yeah,
but you can't get Port can't keep him really.
No,
because you've got Lysette and Laddams.
Laddams he played good football.
Yeah,
so
and they pushed Lysette out of the team to have Ryder play, which is absolutely ridiculous.
It feels like, and when they did that, it felt like they're just trying to accommodate a way to get Paddy Ryder in their game plan, and he's not the quality of player that you accommodate your game plan for. It's either you fit in the game plan or you go.
Ryder used to be a fairly decent forward, a very good.
Used to be a bit of a difference maker, absolutely.
But now he's just lost so much mobility.
Yeah,
and that's what his game relied on. It was never reliant on being a big power forward.
Nah, he was totally about outmaneuvering the bigger guys that he had to play on. So if he can't do that, I don't know why teams would want him. Looks likely that he'll go back to Essendon just to earn himself a contract. But the Carlisle one, I have no idea where Carlisle's going to end up. No idea.
Yeah, it's a good question. He'll probably stay at the Saints, I reckon.
Probably, and the Saints kind of need him too because
they're not exactly swimming with.
If he goes, they have no anchor in defense.
Yeah,
no anchor in defense. So unless they pick one up in the offseason,
unless they move Josh Bruce back to because they traded for. He was a defender at GWS. And so when he came over, he was originally a defender and everything. So they could swing him back to a defensive post because I feel like Bruce had one really good year up forward.
Yeah, and outside of that, they've just sort of forced it.
Especially if and this is a really big if Paddy McCartan can have a solid run at it.
Yeah. Or Max King. And be Max side King by is side. There to hopefully
Max
do
King's
something.
Too young right now.
He's too young right now, but the Saints don't need immediate success. They just need a body to fill a position.
Yeah, have like McCartan next to Membry, swing Bruce back.
Yeah.
And that key positional depth is a bit stronger.
For the Saints. Yeah. I think if someone like Alex Keith wants to move back to a Victorian club, the Saints need to go hard. They might not have a shot, but they need to go hard and just... Someone like that at their club would do them the world of good. Then they might even be able to let Carlisle go.
Maybe.
Who knows? Yeah. We didn't end up talking too much about Canelio there and what he can do for GWS.
We did.
I mean...
but it is a very big re-signing, but it's not unexpected either.
Yeah, and to be honest, he kind of speaks for itself. It's Stephen Canelio. He's going to do well at GWS. So, Eddie Betts, what's going on? What's the deal with Eddie? Adelaide don't want him?
From what I understand... There was reports at the start of the week that came out and said he was delisted. And then he was like, nah, I'm not delisted.
Yeah.
But there has been some interest from Gold Coast. There hasn't been an offer that's been tabled to him or anything. There's just been interest.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is like there's probably 17 other clubs that show interest.
Yeah.
Right? I personally would probably prefer him to stay at Adelaide.
Yeah.
Even as just a mentoring role for some of the younger small forwards coming through.
Yeah.
The only problem is Betts isn't a pressure small forward.
No, he's not. He's a pure goal kicker.
Yeah.
He's all about the goals.
Yeah.
Because the original report was that Adelaide had delisted him, which is not true.
Yes.
But a trade to the Suns is actually becoming more likely.
Possibly.
Was what the inevitable, like the following report was.
Possibly.
So I don't know what's going on at Adelaide, but they just seem to make Adelaide to me make a ton of moves that other clubs like just look at and go, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
and no other club does that. Like even moves that some of the worst clubs make. Carlton makes a move, and other clubs can sit there and go, "Hey, we see what you're trying to do." Like Essendon, or probably not a great idea, a great example because they're in the finals, but maybe even Fremantle make a move, and other clubs might go like, "Oh, hey, we know you lost Lachie Neale, but you bought Jesse Hogan, and we best of a bad situation."
Yeah.
Adelaide just keeps doing things where clubs are like, I got no idea. The whole footy world looks at them and goes, I got no idea what you're doing.
What Adelaide's doing. Yeah, you're not wrong. And I don't understand. They're doing they're making all these decisions and stuff as well, whilst going through a complete wide football review, football department. Why would you be making these decisions whilst conducting a football wide review?
I feel like they're like they need to be seen, or like I don't know if this is me overthinking it, but I feel like from a PR stance, they desperately feel like they need to be seen to be moving in a good direction or making strong calls and things like that. So they call in reviews and they call in tough pre-seasons when they lose the grand final and things like that. But the one thing they don't do is make the tough call and axe text. Like, come on, man. Adelaide Football Club just stresses me out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a confusing club, actually.
Very confusing. And on that, I just don't think they should get rid of Eddie Betts.
No, he's one the one
non-confusing.
He's one of their best leaders.
Yeah,
on and off the field.
In a pool of uncertainty that is the Adelaide Football Club, he is one thing that he's certain he will give you his best, and he will teach younger guys how to play football. And he's a role model. Why get rid of him? I don't understand. Brad Hill and Jack Martin both requested trades.
Yeah, so Brad Hill we knew was happening. Everyone it was the worst kept secret in football.
Got to be under a rock. Got to be under a rock to miss that one.
Worst kept secret. Although in saying that, we thought Stephen Hill was gone to the Gold Coast as well, and he re-signed for 2 years.
Which did give me pause and think, hey, Stephen signed, maybe Brad will stay. And then 5 minutes later, I was like, nah, you're being stupid.
That didn't happen.
Yeah. sad. Why can't we like vintage Freo to keep one Hill brother, and it's the one that you probably don't want?
Bummer. I think I read that 6 Victorian clubs were interested in Hill.
Yeah, I think
he could go anywhere.
Yeah,
really.
You're right.
And because 6 clubs are interested, it's whichever club holds the most power. That's the club he's going to.
Yeah,
not what club he wants to.
Who's going to offer Fremantle the best deal in this one? Because he's got 2 years on his contract.
If he just wants to go back to Melbourne, sorry, but you don't get a choice of what club you go to.
And this is why I think the Saints are leading the race. Because the Saints, out of all of the clubs that are interested, are the most desperate for someone that plays like Brad Hill. They have no one that can do that run and carry and just run all day, cover the ground like that. They have no one. I was trying to think of someone on their list who does that, and they got like Billings is probably the closest thing.
The unfortunate thing for Brad Hill, though, is he'll have gone from Hawthorn to Fremantle when Fremantle undertook their rebuild.
Yeah.
Right? And now he's going to go from Fremantle to potentially the Saints. And the Saints are in a worse position. He's just going to be...
new coach coming
Although in saying that, he's got 3 premierships, so he's got nothing to complain about.
He probably doesn't care that much. I think Saints, they need Brad Hill, and they have the assets to get it done, being the pick ahead of Fremantle. So Fremantle could nab, if that ends up being pick 5 and 6 or 6 and 7, Fremantle could end up with those picks.
Yeah.
And
surely
probably
you wouldn't do just a...
No,
pick
they would
5 for Hill though.
No, they're going to want something
Hill's
else.
Not worth pick 5.
Like they're going to want something else as well. The Saints, I don't know.
Maybe a second round.
Hey, maybe Fremantle can convince them that Hill is worth pick 5 to them.
Yeah,
maybe because they're so desperate, Fremantle can play some hardball and say, look, well, this is your offer. Maybe we're going to go elsewhere. But I think Fremantle's either going to say we want pick 5 and we want it just to work out that way, or we want you to manufacture a deal in which Tim Kelly comes to Fremantle.
One or the other. I suppose it could.
Which also hinges on Tim Kelly and where he wants to go, Like he has he has power in his move away, whereas Brad Hill probably doesn't, So it means if he didn't want to go to Freo, that would make it tough.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I still don't think Kelly wants to go to Freo though.
No, it doesn't seem that way.
I just think he's opened up the possibility.
Yeah. Jack Martin going is an interesting one. Carlton showing serious interest, I believe. It was the Blues.
I think maybe the Hawks are as well.
Yeah, that might have been the
or
first
maybe the
team
Bombers. I'm not sure.
I heard someone,
but
and then I heard
there
Carlton.
are a few clubs interested in him at the very least.
Yeah, and there should be. He's got talent. He's got talent. Player. A lot of people knock him and say he's a bit inconsistent, things like that. He plays on the Gold Coast as a small forward,
and he's not a big player.
A wing forward sort of hybrid.
He's not a big player. He can be the difference to winning a game, but he's not going to carry a team on his back. He's not that kind of player.
Yeah, he's not the catalyst. He's not going to drive the car, but he may be a really handy passenger. Like he may be someone that you can be like, well, having this guy pushes you up another notch, which might be all Carlton need with the way their midfield's coming up at the moment. He's
a very classy player.
Yeah.
Hey, Spaniard, no, we're not going to be going through the mock AFL Finals teams because we're going to be going through the real AFL Finals teams next Thursday.
Yes. So, prior to our elimination party watch final.
Exactly.
Elimination final watch party.
Exactly what you said. They're stupid. We will be going through the All Australian team soon, though.
And
Hayek's
giving us a bit of news.
Cripps wins the MVP, which is duly deserved.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's okay. Like, it's reasonable, but I also think there were still just other players that might have had better seasons than Cripps.
Really?
Who? Lockie Neal. Maybe. Nah, probably not. Probably Fife and Dangerfield would be the two that I might give ahead of him, but even then,
no. Let's squash this here. Dangerfield has had a decent back end of the year.
Probably
but the start of his year was quite poor.
Yeah.
Very much like Dustin Martin.
Yeah.
He's not the MVP of the... He's not even in the conversation of the MVP.
Which he didn't even get... Did he get... He didn't even get nominated.
All
right. Okay. Well, that puts that to bed anyway. No. So... Yeah, you're probably right. Neil, now that I think about it, didn't have a better year than Cripps individually. Fife, maybe.
Maybe. No. I would put Neil in the conversation. Fife, Cripps.
And then probably Tim Kelly, who tapered away too much.
Yeah, and maybe Kelly. But he as you said, He came away down.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. You've talked me into believing that. That's fine for Cripps. He's the favourite.
In saying that, Cripps also did have a few bad games, but
yeah,
only
a couple quieties.
Yeah,
a couple.
I can only count about 3 from the top of my head. The one against Essendon.
I'm still super interested to watch the Brownlow count. It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
It's going to be the best count we've had.
I will be doing a watch party with that, and I'm going to hopefully have the counter up on the screen or something.
That would be amazing. That would be great.
I'm hoping I can figure that out. So that'll be all right.
Yeah.
Moving along, Melbourne have put pick 2 on the table.
I don't like it. I don't like this move from the D's. I think that this is either a fake out just to see what interest is out there for pick 2.
Yep.
Or it's an attempt for them to they remind me of when Fremantle bottomed out 2016, got pick 3, traded it away, got pick 8 in return, and Cam McCarthy. Bad move because pick 3 turned into GWS, then turned that into pick 2, which became Tim Taranto.
Yeah.
Pick 3 went as McCluggage. Either of them would have been better than Logan McCarthy. Yeah. So it's and Fremantle did that.
But could you change pick 2 into 2 later picks in the top end? Maybe pick 12, 13 or something.
If you could, then I don't hate the idea. If they're doing this for a player and then a later pick, I don't like it. Because when Fremantle made that move in 2016, they had the idea that this year was a blip on the radar and they were coming back up the ladder because they still had Nat Fyfe and all these guys that had been up the top of the ladder. It wasn't only that,
but Cam McCarthy was a fairly quality player.
That's true.
And he hasn't come on the way that they would have thought.
They thought they had more
at the time. To be perfectly honest, at the time, it was probably looking to be a good trade because Cam McCarthy had such a good prior year. I know he had the year off, but the year that he was actually at GW, that was a good year.
I feel like it was also just a ploy from Freo though to be like, you know what, we're not that far off. This was a blip on the radar. We're going to get back up there, and it's so hard to get back up the ladder after you fall down it. It's very hard to do. Yeah. It's so much easier to get stuck in the bottom of the ladder for 10 years than it is to get stuck in the top.
Well, look at
so I just think Melbourne need to not get sucked into thinking they're immediately going to come back in, and if they add pick 2 to their team, then they're going to rise a few spots. They're gonna do okay.
I think the only good move that if they were to get rid of pick 2, it would have to be for 2 later picks in the first round.
Yeah,
it would have to be.
I think it's got to be for
pick 2 on a play because there's no real besides Hill.
Yeah,
maybe. There's no real good players left on the trade market.
Well, look, the one they're interested in is Hill's Fremantle teammate, Ed Langdon.
Yeah.
They're not going to give up pick 2 for Langdon, but maybe they would give up pick 2 for Langdon and Fremantle's pick or
first
something
pick or something like that, yeah.
But I don't know if Fremantle would give up Langdon and pick 6 for pick 2.
No, you wouldn't think so.
So, yeah, it's hard to make a deal there. I don't know who else Melbourne might be interested in, but no one good enough to warrant giving away pick 2.
Yeah.
Unless they were going to get Brad Hill.
There's been a lot of interesting delistings that I saw going through the news feed before the episode.
Yeah.
Gartlett from Melbourne.
Yeah.
That was quite interesting for mine.
Yeah, he's getting on in that, but I still thought he had something to offer, maybe.
Yeah, I know he spent a majority of this year injured, but when he was on the park, he was all right.
He's always been very good for them when he's on the park. And to be honest, Melbourne fans, I saw the Facebook status that the Melbourne Footy Club put up about delisting him, and Melbourne fans were extremely grateful for what he did for their club in the terrible years that came before last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good to see that they're gracious, but I was a bit baffled at that one. Yeah, not baffled. Sure. Not baffled. I can understand why they did it, but. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other delistings that I saw on.
Gartlett from Carlton. Well.
Yeah, Matthew Lobe was among them too, the ruckman.
Yeah.
So
which is surprising. He kind of fell off a cliff 2-3 years ago at Port. So.
He totally did. But if we think Paddy Ryder's on the verge of falling off a cliff, should Essendon just get Matthew Lobe in just to be the plug-in? Can't be worse than Zach Clark. Or maybe he can be. Maybe he can be worse than Zach Clark.
Lobe will be better than Zach Clark.
Yeah.
Hell, he might even be better than Belchambers. Belchambers can't stand the park.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Belchamber is still on an AFL list, to be honest.
Yeah,
I understand he's a decent player.
Yeah.
But I don't think has he ever even played a full season?
No idea.
Like more than 18 games in a single season.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Because it's a huge investment in a player that can never play more than 18 games in a year.
Yeah, it is to make him your number one ruck too. You need a number one ruck.
And I understand that's ironic coming from me because I'm a West Coast fan and you got Nick Nat, but Nick Nat before his ACL injuries was regularly playing multiple games in a year. So.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much
that's the news. I think we've gone through the news.
Everything. Let me bring up what we are all here to talk about.
The All Australian team. Got announced last night. It did. At a very cringeworthy night. I've actually never tuned in to.
No, neither have I. I absolutely hate the All Australian because it is not representative of each position on the ground.
Not at all.
No,
not at all.
It's also not representative of a balanced team.
Well, let's do that's a good way to segue into this because we should go through this team and point out who should not be in the positions that they're in. Okay, so you started us off the air. Patrick Dangerfield should not be in a forward flank.
No, not this year. He can play forward.
Yeah, he can.
He didn't play forward this year though. And
when he does, he plays like deep forward anyway.
Right, so he
shouldn't play forward flank.
He shouldn't be on that team based on that. Right, if he's not in the starting midfield or on the bench, he shouldn't be on the team.
Tim Kelly and Bont on wings. Tim Kelly, I feel like can play wing.
Yeah.
Bont never plays wing.
No.
Like, why would he? He's an inside mid.
And this raises questions to even the 40-man squad. Why was Henderson not picked for the 40-man squad? And there was another player that I can't think from the top of my head who was a better wingman, I feel, than Gaff as well.
Brad Hill?
Brad Hill.
Brad Hill not picked for the 40-man squad. Brad Hill. I didn't think he'd make the team.
No,
I don't want to sound biased and have everyone think that I'm just
But he should have made the squad.
He should have made the 40-man squad. Yeah,
before Gaff.
Yeah, I think so.
100%.
Yeah,
so should have Henderson, and Henderson should have actually made the team.
Henderson's had a great.
He should have made the team.
Awesome year. So he was stiff. I can't see too many others that look too out of position. That I like the back line. I will say that I like the back line. I don't. Like a lot of people were.
I'm happy with the back line.
I'm trying to think of who other people thought defenders got snubbed. Robbie Tarrant's name got mentioned because he had a very good year. And then people were saying Dane Rampy. Dane Rampy was not better than anyone in that back line.
No.
So he didn't get snubbed.
I'm disappointed Shepherd's not in the team, but Shepherd would only take probably Hearn's position. So I think Hooley's as a rebound.
Hooley.
See, the defense there is probably the most actual
in positions as well.
Actual representation of what a defense looks like. You've got 2 or 3 big defenders.
Yep.
A key intercept defender and 2 rebounders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's exactly not necessarily. It depends on who your team is and everything, but that would be actually probably West Coast lineup defense kind of thing.
I think
in terms of some big bodies, rebounders, and interceptors.
I think it's the perfect mixture of defense. You've got Dylan Grimes and Tom Stewart, both can lock down, both can rebound, playing your back pockets. Harris Andrews and McGovern in the key positions no one deserves them more than those two. And then Hearn and Hooley on the flanks, driving play. That's bang on from the selectors. I'll give them that one.
That's very interesting, High X, because if that's the case, then I feel that Hearn probably should have had the captain, but I'm not unhappy that Nat Fyfe had the captaincy because I do feel like he's been a good captain this year as well. So I feel like Hearn was a better captain than Fyfe, but it was only out of those two, so I'm not too disappointed. It's not like last year where Franklin
got it, and he's not even the captain of his club.
Well, I reckon there probably would have been about 4 other players on the All Australian list.
Yeah,
even not including Hearn, that should have been captain before Franklin was. So I'm not as disappointed this year with who the captain. I'm fine that it's Nat Fyfe. I'm disappointed it's not Hearn.
Yeah.
But I'm fine that it's Nat Fyfe. But if it's been said now at the MVP that Hearn was the best captain of the year, then he should be the captain. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Obviously, the people picking that at the MVP aren't.
No, it's
the people picking the All Australian team, and it's objective. But
it's very interesting that out of all 18 captains, right, who I feel probably some other captains would have had better years. Maybe Pendlebury, I think, was a better captain than Hearn this year.
Maybe.
That they would go Hearn in an independent sort of award per se.
Yeah.
But the All-Australian selectors just don't go with that. Case in point, Ben Brown not being in the forward line despite finishing second in the Coleman.
That was awful.
Well, and he should be in that team ahead of both Darling and Hawkins.
Yes, he should. While we're on the point of the captain, I actually had to tweet out today because it's what I do and my blood, gets boiled by tweet. I don't know why everyone got so worked up about the captaincy. Like, who cares? It's literally like the most meaningless distinction, and I don't think any of those players would really care that much. It's not
necessarily the most meaningless distinction. It's the official distinction by the AFL.
Yeah.
And that's what I think annoys most people. It's not just some media award or anything. Yeah. It is the official AFL All Australian team and captaincy, right? And when you talk about it from the aspect of last year, where Franklin, it just goes to show you what the hell is the AFL doing. Genuinely, do they actually sit down with a team of bodies and everything and just go, yeah, this is a good decision? Or is it just one person making these decisions going, yeah, this will create some headlines? Because it's a ridiculous process.
It is a ridiculous process. I don't know. I just feel like the players probably don't care that much about the captaincy. I mean, Shannon Hearn doesn't care. He doesn't care.
No,
he's concerned with his final coming up, and captaincy doesn't make Nat Fyfe's life any easier at the moment. It's still a tough gig trying to captain his abhorrent club. So I don't know. And I hated it because I got worked up that everyone was worked up. Yeah. But
I think people are only worked up because of what happened last year.
And the media hasn't helped. They've driven it as if it's some debate. Like, I saw a poll on the West Australians Facebook page being like, who should have been captain? And it's like, who cares?
Yeah, no.
Who cares? I don't know. I'm obviously happy Nat Fyfe got it. If Shannon Hearn had have got it, I would probably be like you and not care.
Like I said,
I would probably just be like, that's fine.
It's water under the bridge for me. I think I think there were only really two cases for who it could be, and it was out of Nat Fyfe and Hearn. Yeah. So I've got no quarrels with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Ben Brown should have been in the team.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Jack Darling was a surprise for me.
So I was working last night, and Cameron, who was on the watch party for the West Coast Richmond game.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law. He told me that Darling made it, and I turned around, I just looked at him like, what?
Yeah.
That Darling made the list? That doesn't sound right.
See, when I was watching it and I saw the announcement, and my immediate thought was, this shouldn't be a thing. And then I had to give myself pause and go, am I just saying that because I'm a Fremantle fan who didn't watch enough of Darling this year? Like, I might have missed the fact that he had a superb year. And I was a bit like, and I went back and looked at a few of his stats and things like that, and I was like, you've got a case to be in this side, but not ahead of Ben Brown.
No, not ahead of Ben Brown, no.
No.
He did kick over 50 goals and everything. I think he would have
fourth. He would have been fourth or fifth.
Fourth in the Coleman, which is decent. But Ben Brown was second.
Yeah.
Now, you might say that Ben Brown doesn't apply much defensive pressure, which I'm assuming is the reason he hasn't gotten in, but I couldn't tell you that Tom Hawkins applies defensive pressure. I do know Jack Darling does.
Yeah, Jack Darling certainly does.
And he's always been known for that. But why is if that was the contributing factor as to him getting in over Ben Brown, then what was the contributing factor as to Tom Hawkins getting in over Ben Brown?
I don't know, unless people are saying that Tom Hawkins, the only argument you could make for it is that Tom Hawkins was the best forward, the best scorer in the best team. I don't subscribe to that. Because like we were talking about it off
Ben Brown is the best scorer almost in the entire competition in one of the worst teams.
Exactly. So if that's your theory, then that automatically trumps it, because Ben Brown is not getting the service that Tom Hawkins gets. Tom Hawkins gets silver service, and he has his entire career.
Yeah.
Like, he has had a good midfield. At the very worst, he has had a good midfield for every year that he's played in this league. Ben Brown has not. Yeah. And Ben Brown still kicks these goals. So, I'm with you. I think Ben Brown should have been in. And then
Scott Pendlebury makes the team.
This comes back to the question that I gave you. Yeah. I think Treloar should have been in front of him, to be honest.
No, I don't think so.
I don't want to say it because Pendlebury actually had a really good year, and I don't want to. This is the problem with All Australian.
I don't think Treloar had a better year than Pendlebury.
I don't know. I know that it doesn't count for much when you lead the league in disposals, when everyone gets a ton of disposals.
Yeah, but his use of the ball, I think Pendlebury was much more damaging than what Treloar than what Treloar was.
I'm open to admitting this may just be a case of me being a Treloar fanboy, which I am.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I got the rest of it right. I think a case can be made that Treloar should have been in for Pendles. Although I haven't seen anyone else try to make that case, so I'm open to admitting I might be wrong on this one.
Yeah, no, I think Treloar is a bit overrated.
Nate McKernan is a gun in contested marking, is the best in the league, and he just can't get games due to the presence of other forwards like Danaher. Well, the presence of Danaher has no presence because he's always injured anyway.
Only for the last 2 years, yeah.
Well, yeah. McKernan's good. We like McKernan.
No, yeah, we were watching the Freo Essendon game and we were singing McKernan's plaudits.
Even in the West Coast Essendon game, I think we're fans of McKernan. Yeah, we like McKernan.
He's been very, very solid.
He's welcome on this show anytime.
Anyone else in the forward line that you kind of disagree with? I think Michael Walters is a bit contentious with a lot of people.
Yeah, but not like, again, maybe some bias, but I actually think with him and Cameron, it's very deserving for both, and I like that they're both actually forwards.
What I think you may be doing, because I reckon he's played much more midfield time this year.
Yeah, he has,
and you're probably rating him as a forward because he's always been a forward. I reckon he's probably played more midfield this year than
he did. Still finish with 40 goals though.
Yeah.
That's impressive for someone who spent so much time in the midfield.
Not bad.
And those games where he's getting, like,
were there any other small forwards that were close to his goal?
This is the thing. I can't think of anyone who, maybe someone was close to his goal. I actually think there was someone who might have floated around like 37, 38, but I can't remember who it was. It's getting away from me now.
Nothing from the top of my head.
But I know that it's supposed to be a body of work, rather than a few individual performances. But he was good all season. Even in the games where he wasn't shining, he still contributed.
I don't necessarily disagree with the Walters thing.
I think the outstanding individual performances he had, like that game where he's getting like 26 touches and 6 goals, or something like 32 and 5 he got one game as well. Those are insane games, and Freo probably had no right to win them unless he played that way. So I'm fine. In fact, I'm more than fine with Michael Walters being in there. Charlie Cameron, he might even be the forward I was thinking of that was floating around 38 goals or so, or did he kick more?
No, Charlie Cameron kicked over 50 goals.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say it was a snub anyway. I think he's a total lock.
Kicking maybe 52 goals or something for the year. He had a very, very good year.
I thought he was a total lock anyway. Yeah. I wasn't about to say he was a snub. He's a fine fit.
What about the Tom Lynch snub? He wasn't snubbed. He didn't deserve to be an All-Australian.
No.
He had a good back end of the year, but his front end of the year sucked.
So. He just wasn't good enough. Like, he's probably going to make a bit of an impact in the finals and things like that. I'm really keen to see Tom Lynch's first finals campaign.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. He is playing good.
Don't get
us wrong. He's playing great now, but at the start of the year,
again,
he wasn't.
Body of work.
And that's
Cameron,
what the All-Australian.
Yeah,
and that's why Dustin Martin's not in the team.
Yeah,
that's why Paddy Dangerfield should
not be in the team. Yeah,
they weren't great at the start of the year. So they shouldn't be in the team based on the back end of the year.
Yeah.
And which is why Dusty Martin was snubbed.
Yeah.
So any other contentious picks that you've got there?
No.
How do you like the interchange?
I did write down that my favourite pick of the whole bunch was to put Jack McRae on the interchange. I think he's good enough to, like, he's the caliber of player that could be in that starting midfield wing position.
Could be, but when you put it up against
those guys, I have no problem with him being on the bench.
Yeah.
Plus, he also was another one that got better as the season went on.
Yeah, he started. Like, I reckon the first 5 rounds were a bit slow for him.
If his last 6-7 rounds were his entire season, he's ahead of like most of those guys in the midfield because he's been insanely good.
I was actually surprised.
I really like that he made the team.
I was actually surprised that Yo got in the team though.
Were you?
On the interchange, yeah.
So who do you think could have been in ahead of Yo?
I was expecting at the very least Martin to get in before Yo.
Yeah.
Not that I thought that Martin's year was better than Yo's.
Yeah, but
Martin's back end of the year was better than any body of work that Yo's done.
But when you leave it up to the selectors...
When you're going through the course of the entire year, then Yo's probably had a better whole year than what Martin has.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the All-Australian selectors...
You just expect Dustin Martin's name to be among the 22.
So I was actually quite surprised for Yo. I'm also happy because it means Yo's been an All-Australian as a defender and now as on the interchange or as a midfielder sort of thing. So pretty happy for him.
I thought...
Gary, actually, I feel like Gary Ablett could have maybe gotten over either Dangerfield or Walters. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know how many goals he kicked for the year, though.
He might actually be the one that I'm thinking of where he got like 38, 39 or something like that. But, yeah, I would have been peeved if he got over Walters. Yeah. Definitely.
I think he should have been ahead of Dangerfield, though, on the forward line.
He's not as far back as a lot of people think he is, just because he had, like...
Well, he was in the 40-man squad.
Yeah. Like, he deservedly so. Yeah, like, a lot of people were like, oh, he shouldn't be in the 40-man squad. He definitely should have been in the 40-man squad. So, yeah, the other one was sort of Max Gawn for me. Obviously, deserves to be there, 100%. Had a brilliant year. But I thought, like you with the Martin thing, I thought maybe the selectors just want to run the one ruck in Grundy. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to play out. So I was kind of happy to see Max get on the bench. Even though like he should be there anyway. Yeah. But, I shouldn't feel relieved about that, but I do when it comes to these selectors. So outside of that, I don't have too many takeaways. Look, we bagged the selectors. It's tough picking this side. It's tough.
It is.
But you need to make the tough calls is what I think.
Yeah, you do. And you can't just slot midfielders out of their natural position. Like, being on the wing is not being a midfielder.
No.
It is being on the wing, completely different position.
If you were to take the best pure wingman across the season, would it be Brad Hill?
You've got a choice of... There are really only 4 pure wingmen in the competition right now that I can rattle off the top of my head. They're the only 4 players in the entire competition that are just pure wingmen. Andrew Gaff, who probably had the poorest year out of all 4 of these.
Yeah.
You've got Hugh McCluggage on Brisbane.
Oh, McCluggage, right.
Who I don't even think he made the 40.
I think he did. I think he made the 40.
He should have at the very least been in the 40. Brad Hill. And I think Henderson should have been on the team ahead of all of them. I think Henderson had the best year as a wingman.
Yeah.
So he should have been in place of Marcus Bontempelli, I feel.
Yeah.
And probably Bontempelli then takes either McRae or Yo's position on the bench.
Maybe this flew under the radar with me too, but I didn't think Bontempelli had as good a year as everyone rated him to have. I thought he came good late too.
Neither do I, but he dominated the coaches' votes.
Yeah, that says something.
Yeah.
But I didn't
feel he had a great year, which is why people when people talk about him being in the Brownlow contention and everything, I don't think he'll be around. No, I don't think he is. I don't think he's had a great year.
I think the winner will poll roughly about 26, 27 votes, and I think Bontempelli will poll maybe 19 to 20.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think he's going to be a good 2 best on grounds away from the winner. But no, that's my take on the All Oz side. It's the All Oz side. I don't care that much for it, but I get invested in my players getting. I
wish that we could have maybe an All Australian side that wasn't decided by the AFL themselves. That was kind of officially recognised. Maybe we should start one.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like I don't know if I told you about it or maybe someone else, but I was driving to Perth with my brother last weekend and we were bored, so we just decided to make a team of a positional based team of players from the last 19 years, so 2000 onwards.
Yeah.
And we were picking a wing was significantly hard, and we settled for, I think, Lee Montagna
on the wing.
Yeah, he played a lot of wing. And we were looking at where someone had made All Australian sides, and that's where it became tough because the wings were just filled with
normal,
so many other dudes. And we were thinking in those good St Kilda years, maybe it was like Luke Ball, Lenny Hayes, and Dal Santo in the middle a lot of the time. So I remember Montagna playing a bit of wing,
maybe.
But centre half back was actually the hardest one we had from the lot. Centre half back was tough. I can't remember who we had. We had like Lepich. This was the short list of guys. We had like Lepich, Harry Taylor, Luke McFarlane, and maybe like Alex Rance or something like that.
You'd have to go Harry Taylor off the
halfback. We went with Harry Taylor.
Off the halfback, and the fullback you'd probably have to go with Rance.
Who did I go? No, we went with Scarlett. Matt Scarlett.
No, well, yeah, that's not a bad decision.
We had Rance in a back pocket as like a floating back.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad decision.
Yeah, so we had Scarlett. Fletcher missed out, which was like, just because Matt Scarlett was so good. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what we do when we're bored anyway.
That's very interesting, actually. You'd probably have Franklin in the forward line, definitely. Who else would be in the forward line?
We had Franklin and Matty Lloyd.
Yeah, I was going to go Lloyd, maybe?
Franklin and Lloyd. The midfield sort of almost picked itself in terms of we had Jordan Ablett.
Yeah.
Dual Brownlow medalist.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
And then we ended up choosing Nat Fife.
That's very interesting.
Not based on success or accolades, but just on the way he plays and sort of how he
we're talking about not the 2019 All Australian team.
No.
An All Australian team from 2000 onwards.
Yeah.
Franklin would be in the All Australian. He'd be a startup.
Yeah, absolutely. He was the first player we picked.
Yeah.
We started this whole thing because we were like,
who's been the best small forward?
Is good. We had Eddie Betts in there.
Betts or Milne?
And Milne was in the other forward pocket. We had Betts and Milne. I think we had Corey Enright in a back pocket too. Luke Hodge on a back flank.
You'd have to have Hodge.
Yeah, he was on a back flank. I think our interchange was something like Simon Black, Sam Mitchell, Adam Goods, and we wanted another versatile player, so we ended up choosing Pavlich because he'd been picked all Oz in every position. So we were kind of like, okay. Which is what we had Goods on the interchange with him because we just couldn't find a key position starting point for them. The ruckman was Dean Cox. We had Dean Cox in the ruck. Couldn't think of any other ruck. Like Brodie Grundy might be that good eventually.
In time,
He will be.
It looks like he's tracking that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but a body of work, we had to pick Dean Cox.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Cousins just missed out on being in the interchange. But there were so many names where it was so hard to pick. Like Dane Swan didn't get a spot. Dusty Martin
that's
didn't get a
interesting,
spot. Voss. We had Hurd on a forward flank. James Hurd on a forward flank.
No, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because he could play both positions very, very well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what other Hawks we had in there. I think Sean Burgoyne might have been in there.
I probably wouldn't.
But that was positional because we were looking for... No, we had Sean Burgoyne. But he was on. But we swapped him out for McLeod
off the halfback.
Yeah,
that's much better.
Yeah. So our halfbacks were Hodge and McLeod. Yeah. Anyhow, that was my activity.
Okay, so from here, give us your clear favourite for the Brownlow.
Oh, see, this is tough because if you had to ask me 2 weeks before the season ended, before the last 2 rounds, I would have said Nat Fife.
Mm-hmm.
May not poll a vote in the last 2 rounds. Therefore, I tend to think Patrick Dangerfield could win it.
Not Cripps.
Cripps definitely can.
What about Kelly?
No, I think Kelly tapered away too. Like Kelly is going to finish up there. Like he literally may have done enough in the early rounds.
And Neil?
I actually think Neil, in a lot of Brisbane games, like I remember looking at their scores and stats and stuff, and there were a lot of Brisbane games where he got like 19, 20 touches, which speaks to how good Brisbane were as a team. Yeah. But he's going to need a lot of threes, Neil. He's going to need a lot of threes because Cripps will get 1s and 2s in abundance because his team, when they were losing, he will still get a 1 and a 2.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah.
Because he was that dominant on the field.
Clear favourite doesn't exist this year.
Yeah.
But I would say Cripps, Dangerfield, Fife to round out to top 3.
I still think Fife gets it.
You think Fife will get it?
Fife is still my choice. Who's your outside smoky? Everyone has an outside smoky. Who's your outside smoky?
Brodie Grundy.
Grundy?
And he's probably not that much of a smoky, but I think in a lot of Collingwood wins, he will poll votes.
Yeah.
Like, even in Collingwood losses, he may poll votes. It's impossible not to notice him on the ground. The problem is Collingwood have a ton of midfielders that may pinch his votes. But yeah, I think Yo's a smoky. In a lot of West Coast wins, he was clear best on ground. He had a slow start, but he might poll enough threes. Yeah.
To
who else
get
is
him
going
up
to get
there.
those votes? Like Luke Shuey will pop up for a vote every now and then, but not enough to just pinch. Maybe
it'll either be Yo
was really good early on.
No, he wasn't. Yo or Shuey will be the top voter for West Coast.
Yeah. It's not going to be Gaff. It's not going to be.
No. It's not going to be anyone else.
Yeah, it's not going to be anyone else.
No one else had any good
I mean, it's not going to be like, Hearn or McGovern or anything.
And what else? I think probably...
We could talk about the Rising Star, but that's a dead rubber. That's done.
Yeah, no. 100%.
Sam Walsh is winning the Rising Star.
No, 100%. He is genuinely... And he's for mine, the best first-year player the AFL has ever seen.
You called that out in your video.
I said arguably, though.
Yes, and I wanted
to cover my ass.
Well, watching your video, I wanted to refute it and be like, nah, like, there's got to be someone. And then I was like, there's not. No. There's not anyone else.
The only player that I can think of that comes close is Joel Selwood.
Yeah, Joel Selwood was pretty phenomenal in his first year, but I don't think he was as good as Sam Walsh. No, I think he was in a really good situation.
I think Sam Walsh, I think I've said that for the last 10 weeks.
And it's actually like, I feel bad for Rosie and Stack and all these other guys.
They've been brilliant first
year
players.
In other years, they would probably win the award, but they ran into Sam Walsh.
Mind you, in saying that, we knew last year that last year's draft was probably was close to the 2001 Super Draft equivalent.
That was the Hodge Goddard. Yeah. I think Luke Ball went high in that one. Sam Mitchell was in that one, I think, too.
That's the Hodge, Judd, Ball.
Yeah, Hodge, Judd, Ball. Yeah, Judd was in there. Yeah.
You also had Ablett, Mitchell. Maybe Swan.
Potentially, I know
that year as well.
Brendan Goddard was in there, which he went on to have a very good career as well. So that was. But you're right. This draft, the most recent draft,
you can just tell just from the first year players
they're going
this year. This draft's talent is
they are going to be perennial superstars.
Generational talent for that.
They are going to be perennial superstars who define seasons. I think like Sam Walsh is going to be someone who can define
of the AFL for the next 10 years.
Just think about the fact that Patrick Cripps is arguably the best player in the AFL right now. Has been for the last 2 seasons, arguably. Unstoppable force, generational talent himself. And there may come a time sooner rather than later where he's the second best player on his team.
Yeah. Could you imagine that?
I can't imagine a Carlton where Patrick Cripps is the second best player, but it could be a thing.
I know, it could genuinely be.
Like Sam Walsh averaged 25 disposals in his first year. He may average 30 in his second.
He may be the player to push average disposals up to 40.
Look, absolutely.
He could very well be that player.
Absolutely.
Mind you, Tom Mitchell could also be that player if he stays in the park.
Yeah, but I find that Tom Mitchell won't be as dangerous ever as Sam Walsh.
Sam Walsh is very clean and classy.
It's a massive call in itself because Tom Mitchell's won a Brownlow. Who's to say Sam Walsh is ever going to win one? But hey, if I'm backing one of these first year kids to win a Brownlow, it's Sam Walsh.
I tell you what, Sam Walsh could win his Brownlow. Could be one of those players that wins the Brownlow in their 4th year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the players that have already done so? So you've got, from top of my head, I know Judd did.
Judd did, yeah.
In his 4th year.
I'm trying to think of
Are there any recent players that have?
Other Brownlow winners that would have done it. Not really. Like Fife was past it.
Maybe Cooney?
Fife was in his 5th year, I think, or 6th. So that's close.
Fife was drafted in...
He was 2010 was his first year and he won in 2015. So he didn't do it.
No. I want to say Cooney may be close, but I don't know how young he was.
Maybe.
I don't know how young he was.
Maybe.
What other... Well, no one after Fife, surely.
Not
in the years after Fife. Who won 13?
I mean...
13 was Gaz. 12 was...
the
suspended.
Watson.
Yeah, suspended.
Yeah, the asterisks here.
11 was Swan. 10 was Judd. 9 was Gaz. 8 was Bartel.
Yeah.
And 7 was Cooney. I don't know. I couldn't tell you who's 6.
Goods, I think.
Goods was 6.
Goods.
5 was Cousins. 4 was Judd.
I think Judd might be the only one that has done it. Mm. Yeah. Unless someone like way earlier than that has done it. I don't know. But yeah, Sam Walsh could do it. 100%. He's capable of that.
Imagine that.
Be nuts, man.
Yeah.
Nuts.
I hope he stays at the
Imagine if he wins one.
I hope he
before Patrick Cripps wins one.
Yeah. Well, it's a genuine possibility.
It's 100%.
It's a hard award to win, man.
100%.
It's a hard award to win.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just think of the amount of players that haven't won one.
Oh, that are all great players.
Pendlebury's probably the first one to top off your list that's currently playing, who's an older model.
Yeah. There's tons of guys. Yeah. Tons of guys. I mean, we would say Sam Mitchell had it not been for 2012.
Wow, yeah.
Selwood? Yes, Selwood. He always polls well.
Very nearly got it in 13.
Yeah.
Very nearly joint won it with Gaz in 13, actually.
Yeah. Scott West from the Bulldogs who came second like 3 times. So.
Yeah. So did Kerr. actually.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's definitely been some good ones.
Yeah. Anyway. But that's going to be us, guys. It's actually the first. We've
got questions to do, mate. Steady on.
Damn, I thought we were on time. We're just going to be over time. That's okay. Let's go with yours first.
Okay, so besides the Gold Coast and Melbourne, I have to tell you who's the biggest disappointment is in 2019.
Yeah.
The Adelaide Crows.
Yeah,
for mine.
That's mine as well.
I think just the way they handled things and for me, it's more about how many chances are you given and how many can you stuff up.
Yeah.
Adelaide had no right to be in the mix to gain a top 8 spot with 2 rounds to go. With the way they had played and the way they held themselves, like they had no right to be in that mix. And they just kept finding a way to not get over the line, not get the job done. The axings of, the omissions, of Gibbs and like Jenkins and guys like that. Tex is still there doing nothing up front for 2/3 of the season, essentially. Like they were disappointing. I was tempted to say Port Adelaide, but Port Adelaide's younger, and I'll give them more of an excuse.
Adelaide was expected to do more.
Yeah.
Port Adelaide started well and again fell away, much like last year.
Yeah. And Adelaide, well, before the season, people were talking about premiership with Adelaide.
Yeah.
Like people were talking minor premiership.
They were going to finish top 4. I had them finishing top 4.
I had them top 8. I didn't have them top 4. I had them playing finals.
I thought they would bounce back after what was a really disappointing 18. 19 was equally disappointing.
If not more.
Yeah.
If not more, because they may have had less injuries.
It's become now more clear where this club is sitting.
Yeah, because last year I think it was a matter of like, okay, Brad Crouch was out, Brody Smith was out.
There was so much happening.
They had a lot of injuries going on last year. A lot of old guys like Scott Thompson that they were trying to sort of phase out. Wait, did Scott Thompson retire the year before or last year? I don't know. I think it was last year.
End of 17, I think.
Okay, maybe it was. Anyways, like I feel like they had more excuses last year.
Joel will tell us in a second.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just Adelaide for mine.
Yeah, no, Adelaide for mine as well. That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
There's no one else that you could say was disappointing.
Yeah, part of me wanted to pick Freo just with the way they handled themselves in the back half of the season, but they really finished where they should have been anyway.
No, I'm fine with so Tomo in 17.
Yeah, there you go. Freo.
I've got no issues with where Freo ended up.
Yeah, if this
based on the events that was occurring throughout the year.
Yeah,
if they had their KPFs, then they would have been fine.
Yeah, that's true. So Adelaide for mine.
Yeah, we're about to finish up anyway, Bomber.
Yeah.
So out of Gaff, Shuey, Zorko, Trelaw, and Martin, it was Martin who was the biggest snub for the All Australian team. I'll argue why. So Martin, I said off the top, either Martin or Zorko for mine was probably out of that list of names was for mine the biggest snubs. You could argue that Dusty Martin could have made the starting 18, perhaps. I know he started off slowly. Realistically, it was only about his first 5 or 6 games that were a bit slow.
Yeah, after
then
that
he started to pick up. When Cochin actually went out the team, when Cochin was injured, Martin came to the
took
table.
Over. And it's not like everyone says first half of the season. It was the first
really
5
It's about the first
games.
quarter. Yeah.
It was not 11 games where he was not doing anything. Sorry, go on. It was Martin and I just... Did you have another point? Sorry, I feel like I cut you off.
That was pretty much my point.
Yeah,
his poor start to the season wasn't as elongated as what most people seem to think.
Yes.
So he definitely could have made the All Australian team based on that.
You mentioned Zorko as your other one. Mine was probably Zorko because Zorko did so much of the things that just don't count for All Australian selection. Yeah. He put pressure on. He tackled. He ran hard. He did all the good things that made Brisbane so much better than they were.
He'll actually probably win Brisbane's best and fairest because I think he was more important to Brisbane than Neil.
Yeah,
but Neil was more important for Zorko.
Yeah,
because he took the attention away from Zorko to let Zorko do what Zorko does best.
Absolutely,
but I feel like Zorko is much more important to the team balance.
I just hate how Zorko, I feel, got stitched up on all the things that All Australian selectors just don't care about, yet are still more important than the things they do care about.
Yeah, they only care about flashy stats.
Yeah, possessions and goals.
So this is probably the best All Australian team, I reckon, that the AFL has pumped out for a number of years.
Yeah.
But it's still a disappointing team based on certain selections within that team.
Yeah, I think so. Like we said before, I think the back six is great, and from then on in all other phases, I can pick problems.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I'm the selectors, my defense is that everyone's always going to pick problems.
Yeah. Well, we had them in the top 40.
Yeah, exactly. So
doesn't matter. Well, they didn't have Henderson in the top 40, so
yeah. Anyhow,
that's going to be us this week, guys. We are going to be releasing 3 new videos at the start of next week, as well as doing the watch party. Watch party will start earlier than normal. We're going to be starting at about 5:30 West Australian time, 7:30 East Australian time.
Roughly about half an hour before the game.
Yeah. So that way we can run through the rest of the games and the teams before we get to the elimination final.
Yes, in which Ryan's team is playing.
I'm not looking forward
It's not
to it.
Likely that they would lose, but if they do and you want to see a grown man cry, just tune in.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to be very happy. You're not going to want to watch me. It's not, I'm not going to be very happy if
this is going to be great
if that happens. So,
thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Thank you very much. We'll see you we'll see you in the videos on Monday. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Absolutely.